Okay, let's start with Hemant Soren. Okay, so backgrounder to this story. Hemant Soren, Chief Minister of Jharkhand, he is a tribal leader. He is the son of Shibu Soren, who is one of the big giant tribal leaders who was very instrumental in the Jharkhand state formation. He, his son is now the chief minister. Earlier, he had allied with the BJP, the JMM, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, and BJP had allied to form government. Later, they broke off. Now, he has formed an alliance with the Congress and RJD. So, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha essentially right now has how many? 48 seats. The government, the alliance, has 48 seats in the assembly, Jharkhand assembly. The Jharkhand assembly total is 81 seats, right? So they have a comfortable majority as well. So what happened recently is that he was arrested. But before that, the events that followed before that, which were very strange if you observed. So ED has been going to him for many months, according to him. From 2022 onwards, they have been sending him notices after notices. It is the same thing that happened to Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia, the same sort of model, right? Which is the Enforcement Directorate keeps sending notices and asking them to come in for answering questions. They hadn't filed an FIR, but they are summoning these people without any, sort of to ask them questions. So the question that they were asking him is that he has illegally obtained 8.5 acres of land somewhere in 2009, right? And he claims that he hasn't done no such thing. He says that from 2007 onwards, he has not bought any property, and that the land that they are accusing him of hardpowing or being shady with is actually tribal land which cannot be taken over. So that is his argument. The ED is saying that that he has done some ghapla in that land and he hasn't declared it and etc. etc. So ED, ED. So what happened is that they have been sending notices to him throughout. Then last week, he goes missing. Yeah, honestly. So the ED turned up at his house, and I think he had an inkling that he was going to be arrested. So a very dramatic sequence of events happened here, right? It was in this article, which is on NDTV, right? Yeah, it is on NDTV, which kind of tells you like a sequence of events of what had literally happened. Very good article. You should read it. So he essentially he was going to be questioned by the ED again, but he had an inkling that he's going to be arrested. So he disappeared from Delhi, right? He was in Delhi when the ED came and raided his property, but like literally hours before, Hemant Soren escaped. Again, according to he escaped, like he made a great escape. Some sources say that he just left at like 2 a.m. in the morning from his house and started walking towards something, then picked up a car, some car picked him up from there, and then he drove all the way to Ranchi, right? So when he went quote unquote missing, nobody knew where he was because he was in transit, right? Then he goes back to Ranchi, then ED comes there and he is arrested there, right? But he says that I will not sign the arrest warrant unless you take me to the governor's house so that I can resign. Now, there are some things that happened in the middle also. Apparently, after he came back to Ranchi by doing the whole trip, he spoke to his alliance partners, right? And he suggested the name of Champai Soren. I'll tell you who Champai Soren is also. He suggested his party member Champai Soren as the next chief minister and said that I'm going to go to the governor's house and resign, and we are going to be there in support for Champai Soren. We cannot let the BJP take over, and after Champai Soren gets enough support, we will do a floor test, and that is how we will save our government. And I feel like that is some genius level moves right there, because I'll tell you. So After that, he does this whole thing. Then ED comes to his house, arrest him. Then they take him to the governor's house. The ED takes him to the governor's house, and he resigns as the chief minister, says that Champai Soren is now going to be the chief minister, and the alliance partners are already present when this was happening at the governor's house, and they immediately swear him in, right? And now today floor test has happened. So even the assembly gathered and they're doing this. But before the floor test happens, after this whole drama at the governor's house, they pick up all of their MLAs and fly them to Hyderabad. Resort, yes, of course. They put them in a resort so that BJP cannot do Operation Lotus on them, right? And today, right before the assembly gathered for the floor test, they flew them in, and Hemant Soren came at the same time, and all these people were there, and then the floor test happened, and they won, and then they saved the government. Also, another thing, Hemant Soren was arrested, but then he requested the court to let him go to the assembly and basically support his party member, Champai Soren, for the floor test. And yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah. Brain, no work, too much information. Okay, should I do a recap chat? Recap, simple recap. If you want, say hi. But I mean, I was thinking about what is happening. I was following this story since he was arrested, and I got like bits and pieces of what was happening. But this one article was excellent. It gives out like whatever has happened. Oh, so a lot of people want. Okay. A lot of people want recap. Okay. Recap. Hemant Soren, Chief Minister, Jharkhand. Opposition. He is allegedly, it is alleged that he has taken some land over by shady ways in 2009. Enforcement Directorate starts sending him notices from 2022 onwards. It all comes to a head last week. So they keep sending him notices. He's like going and answering questions. But then somehow he knows suddenly that it is going to come and arrest him. He finds, I don't know how he found out. On the night that he's going to be arrested from Delhi, man leaves house, goes to car, from Delhi he drives to Ranchi, right? Jharkhand, and then he meets his alliance partners who are there forming the government with him and say that, listen guys, this is what is happening. I am going to be arrested right now. We have to save our government. So what we will do, here is Sir Champai Soren, who we all trust and love, and amazing person, who is going to become chief minister now. I am going to be arrested by the ED, but before I get arrested, or after that, I'm going to resign as chief minister, and we are going to immediately install Champai Soren as the chief minister. We are going to do immediately a floor test and prove that everybody approves of Champai Soren as the chief minister, so that the BJP cannot do anything, right? So that happens. He gets arrested. On the way, he goes to the governor's house, resigns. Same time, this whole thing happens. Then he goes to, ED takes him away. Yeah. Meanwhile, the party and alliance fly all of their MLAs to Hyderabad to save them from the BJP. You know, Operation Lotus. Operation Lotus is when BJP offers certain fun things to switch sides. Allegedly. So Operation Lotus will happen on them. So they were taken to Hyderabad, kept safe in a nice little resort. And then before the floor test, they're flown back in. The whole thing happens smoothly. Now there is still the JMM-led government in Jharkhand. And Hemant Soren has basically done 5D chess on BJP and come out as the winner. Even though he has been arrested, he has pretty much saved his government. Yeah. So that's the summary. Guys, recap helped a lot. Thank you. Anshu Kumar is like, that's not exactly how it happened. Again, guys, I'm getting all this information from sources on the internet, right? This is how I sort of constructed it in my head. But Anshu Kumar, if you have any more detail that you want to add and maybe correct me if I said something. Hemant Soren basically did Chanakya Niti. Yeah, it looks like it. No, very smart, very smart. The first was all about Champai Soren's swearing in ceremony, which was delayed even after having majority. Meanwhile, Nishikant was trying to steal the MLA, Rahul. So yes, there was some trouble that was brewing, apparently, according to sources, because Hemant Soren's wife was seen as one of the contenders for chief minister. Seen matlab everybody was speculating that if he resigns, he will give it over to his wife. But there was internal debates within his family, who said that no, she can't be the chief minister. We have to pick a better man who will inspire confidence. And they went with Champai Soren. Champai Soren is a loyalist of Shibu Soren. I will tell you, I will show you who he is, because I feel like we need to know who this person is as well, to give you an idea of why everybody kind of supported him as well. Hemant skipped all ED summons. That's how he knew he was going to be arrested. Ah, interesting, Anshu. So basically, because he didn't show up for questioning. So this is happening with Arvind Kejriwal also, no, Anshu? That ED has been summoning him for questioning, and Arvind Kejriwal has been responding with letters asking what is the relationship and why are they summoning him. They have not given any evidence. They have not stated under what law he is going to be brought in, etc. So now maybe they'll do that same thing to Arvind Kejriwal also. They'll try to arrest him under, like, in connection with the case with Manish Sisodia, etc. But what is strange, no, Anshu, is that after this whole thing happened, they went to court, right? Supreme Court. Kapil Sibal is his lawyer who went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that you first have to go to the High Court and get an order, and then we will deal with this. He says that this is the first time in the history of India that a sitting chief minister has been arrested like this. And what is the Supreme Court doing exactly if they're not hearing cases like this? They hear cases of Arnab Goswami. They hear cases of other people. Vinod Dua, for example. If you have a special liking for Arnab Goswami, I guess. Vinod Dua also. They heard it very immediately, and then they gave verdict also. Multiple cases he has listed out where the Supreme Court has allowed petitions to be filed and they heard it on an immediate basis also. I think even Nupur Sharma got a hearing, as far as I know. Anyway, so Sibal is saying that, boss, humko bata do, what is this? Tell us, why can we approach you? When can we not approach you? Chief Minister get arrested. Should we approach you not? Or, you go to the High Court, then the High Court will take its own sweet time. What will happen there? So why are you delaying this process? Etc. etc. Right? So yeah, so that is strange. I feel like that is strange. Like what the sequence of events that are following after that also. And also Kapil Sibal also said that now we all know what is going to happen. Hemant Soren has been taken into custody, and the way these things usually go now is that they will essentially start gathering evidence now, right? And they will try to connect like one thing after the other to him. And then under some law or the other, they will file 10 cases against him, which will again keep getting delayed, and the court will take its own sweet time to come up with one after the other. And they will just rot in jail. Yeah, like Manish Sisodia or Umar Khalid. Two big examples. Or Satyendra Jain. Or who is that officer from Gujarat who has been in jail for so long? Him also. So yeah, many examples. Siddiq Kappan is another one. Yeah, so they just find reasons then after that and start filing cases, and then one after the other, it just piles up and just keep them away from the people, basically. The process is the punishment. Stan Swami as well, correct. Sanjay Singh, another one, yeah. Sanjeev Bhatt, yes, Ali Turk, absolutely. Sanjeev Bhatt, yeah. Bhima Koregaon accused, absolutely. So that see, this is what I mean, right? Uncomfortable people, this is what happens to them. I feel like Arvind Kejriwal, this will happen to Kejriwal also. I'm not putting it beyond, we can just see the trends, right? It's just right there in front of us. So I feel like this current regime doesn't really care about what the optics are, because they are so comfortable believing that all the optics are in their favor that they don't feel like there is any big deal sort of arresting chief ministers and their ministers and asking the governors to screw with state governments and all those things. It just happens. It's just natural now. It's just like normalized apparently. What happened to Umar Khalid release? There was an update today. The hearing was supposed to happen on Wednesday. The Bela Trivedi, who is the judge there, will be on a constitution bench on the same day. So that has again been postponed. That's the update. Wednesday supposed to happen, postponed because now judge is not available. So sometimes the lawyer is not available, sometimes the judge is not available. Some things happen. Like sometimes they don't show up, so it's delayed, and then they're like, oh, we can't hear it now. Next week, maybe next month, maybe next year, maybe 2050. Are we surprised? No, I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. It's just frustrating sometimes. A little bit frustrating. No, it's actually quite frustrating. Bail is norm, jail is exception, biggest joke. Also, guilty until you're proven innocent is what it is today. Usually it's the other way around, right? Innocent until proven guilty. Now it is basically all of us in this country are guilty unless we prove it otherwise. And the way we prove it otherwise is by supporting the establishment. So you basically start supporting the BJP, you start singing their songs, you start talking in their favor, and you are innocent. Otherwise, you are guilty by default, just by default. And the burden of proof is on you to prove that you're innocent. So when innocent until guilty, right? So if you're innocent until guilty, the state has to prove, the state has to prove that you are guilty. They have to bring in evidence, yada, yada. Even if there's a murder or even if there is a crime committed, the state has to bring in the proof with all their police and prosecution and all the things. Then they decide whether you are guilty or not. Currently, what is happening is everyone is guilty. Everyone. One reason or the other, right? Now, telecom bill has been passed. So, I am guilty until they actually take action against me, right? Because maybe I'm not following their norms or program codes or whatever. Broadcast bill will come in. Then, if I say something which they declare as, whatever, causing harm, jo bhi hai. Like they don't even need to come up with reasons. They can just send me a notice or just show up, and then they can take my equipment away. And then they can gather evidence from the equipment, right? And just see ki, oh, ye dekhiye, maine bola tha na ye guilty hai, maine bola tha na, ab proof bhi mil gaya humko, right? So that is what is happening right now. So until you are proven innocent, and you have to prove yourself innocent, that is on you, right? So the state has done its job and just declared you guilty, then collected evidence against you and then proved you are guilty. So now you are basically left trying to prove it otherwise yourself. Yeah, Champai Soren. So the new chief minister of Jharkhand, he's 67 years old. He has been sworn in as the 12th chief minister of Jharkhand. 12th chief minister, by the way. Jharkhand was formed in 2000. So you can imagine in 24 years, they've already had 12 chief ministers. Fun state Jharkhand is. The reason why Jharkhand is also very important is about 40% of our total mineral reserves are from that state. And I think some 25% of all coal is produced by Jharkhand. So it's weird, but it is the way it is. Basically, it is one of the poorest states in India, but it is also the richest state in India. The riches are to be exploited by capitalists who have the wherewithal to do the exploitation. And of course, the people who are mostly tribals are labor. Late stage capitalism again. It just seems to come out of everywhere. Late stage capitalism seems to be everywhere. It's a combination of cronyism, late stage capitalism, a lot of other things. But Jharkhand is very important because it is a minerally rich state, which needs to be, of course, siphoned off for everybody else. And it is also the poorest state because it has a giant amount of tribal population and extremely destitute population. Yeah. So Champai Soren was sworn in. He's the 6th chief minister from Jharkhand's Kolan region. He was Minister of Transport in Jharkhand government. He is known as the Jharkhand Tiger. He played a crucial role in the fight for creation of separate Jharkhand state in the 1990s. He is seen as a loyalist of Shibu Soren, who is Hemant Soren's father and a Rajya Sabha MP. He is the one who started Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, and Champai Soren has been associated with him since the 1990s. So a long time loyalist. Born into an agriculture family, Champai received his early education in government school and studied till 10th grade. His political career began during the demand for separate state in Jharkhand, aligning himself with JMM. Champai Soren won his first election as an independent MLA through by-election from Saraikela constituency in 1991. So he also has like a giant amount of experience as an elected representative. He contested and won elections from Saraikela, serving as an independent and later on JMM ticket. He was also cabinet minister in the BJP government led by Arjun Munda from September 2010 to January 2013. Even this government seems to have been cut short. In 2019, he became Minister of Food and Civil Supplies and Transport in Hemant Soren's government. Yeah. So again, as I said, long-time party loyalist, long-time Shibu Soren loyalist, and therefore probably everybody trusts him. And from the looks of it, from whatever I've read about him after that, seems to be like a very humble, a person from a very humble background. And yeah, interesting turn of events, no? Accidental chief minister again. Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh have been historically exploited by all corporates and crony capitalists. Yeah, and also Odisha. Odisha is also one of the states which has been historically exploited. So the case of Bihar, it has been exploited for its human resource, also seats, which I now agree with, which is every government that comes to the center, every party, every national party that leads a government, know that they will get a lot of their seats from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar population. So Bihar, they just keep a chief minister as like a side character and take all their seats. So that's basically how Bihar has been going. So Jharkhand is the second poorest after Bihar, not first. I didn't say it's the first poorest. I don't think it is the second also now. Isn't it the third? Madhya Pradesh was the second, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I have seen Keonjhar, which is my parents' home, and the jungles are cut down, the rock are cut. It looks very barren. So that's the thing. No, there is like a lot of strip mining happening there all the time. Wasn't it? I did this Adani saga recently where Adani got hold of some coal blocks in forested areas. Some of them were in Jharkhand also. Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand both. Why every mineral-rich state has Adani eye on them, and why even after having sufficient coal reserves, Adani still imports from other nations for Adani's profit? Rahul, so I did a video on this. You can check it out. It's called the Adani Saga. It gives you like a sequence of events that have happened in the last year that I've spoken about this also. But it is a simple sort of equation, right? So to extract minerals and process them, you need a lot of capital investment, right? You need a lot of machinery, you need to dig, you need explosives, all the things. Lots of expertise is also required. Mining requires expertise. Lots of concrete is required. So all sorts of things, right? Big investment to actually extract the mineral. Then you transport that mineral to a factory slash processing unit. Wahan pe you need a lot of investment to do it. Then finally it is put to use. So then that goes to like different factories, etc. So Tata Steel, for example, right? That is another example of how much investment is actually required to make something like steel, right? So because such heavy capital investment is required, there are two choices. One, you either let the state do the whole thing. You either let the government just do the whole process till the point of the manufacturing where the heavy investment is required. Uske baad you can leave it for the free market to take over and essentially do it. But then they don't think of profits. So that's another bureaucratic red tape nightmare that you create. Or the other option is that you hand it over to people with money and wealth. And they are the ones who will put in the capital investment. Actually, they don't even put in their own money. They will get bank loans and that money will be put in. So technically, it is ownership of the bank through these capitalists. And then they can invest money. And that's how mineral exploitation happens in a capitalist system. And that is what is happening. And of course, if you already have a bunch of resources already taken over, like Binnesser started with ports. He started getting money from ports. He expanded into other things, airports, then minerals, then power transmission, then supply chains, then shipping, transporting coal from one country to the other. Now defense. All sorts of things, right? Even FMCG, they wanted to build warehouse to do farming also. So once you start getting capital, you just invest that capital and expand your current capital, and of course, stock market is very happy. By the way, guys, I think I forgot to show you one fun clip which related to Hemant Soren. I want to prepare you a little bit for brain damage. Are you prepared for brain damage, friends? Because I'm going to show you a person who is responsible for a lot of brain damage. And that person is Sudhir Ji. Okay. Notice the way he talks.
दूं कि झारखंड का जो मुख्यमंत्री है उसकी जो एक महीने की जो तनख्वाह होती है वो है लगभग 2.25 लाख रुपए। अगर आप 3 लाख रुपए भी मान लें तो साल के हुए 36 लाख रुपए। अगर आप हेमंत सोरेन का लाइफस्टाइल देखें, सोरेन परिवार का लाइफस्टाइल देखें, तो आपको कहीं से भी ये नहीं लगेगा कि उनकी तनख्वाह साल की 36 लाख रुपए है। आपको ऐसा लगेगा 36 लाख नहीं, शायद 36 करोड़ नहीं, शायद 360 करोड़ नहीं, शायद हजारों करोड़ रुपए उनकी तनख्वाह होगी, तब जाकर ये लाइफस्टाइल उन्हें दिखने को, सहने को, रहने को मिलेगा। इसलिए सैलरी भी उनकी देख लीजिए 2.25 लाख रुपए, और उस हिसाब से अगर आप देखें तो दिल्ली के मकान से ही 36 लाख रुपए तो अभी 2 दिन पहले कैश मिल गए थे ईडी को। अब चलते हैं चित्रा के पास। चित्रा, अब आप हमें बताइए कि हेमंत सोरेन बाहर आए या नहीं आए, और अब आज की रात उनकी कहां बीतेगी? उन्हें तो बहुत शानदार लाइफस्टाइल की आदत है, वो प्राइवेट प्लेन्स में चलते हैं, बड़ी बड़ी गाड़ियों में चलते हैं। आज उनके लिए एक तरीके से वैसा ही होगा जैसे वो 20, 30, 40 साल पहले वापस अपने किसी आदिवासी के तौर पर किसी जंगल में चले जाएं। आज की रात काफी मुश्किल होने वाली है।
What?
वो 20, 30, 40 साल पहले वापस अपने किसी आदिवासी के तौर पर किसी जंगल में चले जाएं। आज की रात काफी मुश्किल होने वाली है।
Sudhir is such a embodiment of a salty uncle, no? He's like a saltiest of uncles, which is just everywhere. He's like the uncleness is just dripping out of him, like the traditional uncleness, WhatsApp salty uncleness, like Tana Marna, right? You know, he should really direct a K-drama, not the Korean drama. I'm saying Ekta Kapoor drama. He'll be great at it. He's like, oh, vamp, look, vamp. Ooh, Mercedes में जाता है. Oh, look, salary. Ooh, go back to your 30, 40 years ago, you were in a jungle. What? Why did he need to bring that in? Exactly? Why did his brain go there? Why? थोड़ा ज्यादा नहीं हो रहा है? Like, I mean, like, I don't get it. Enough brain damage. Somebody please translate for this Hindi illiterate. Of course, my apologies, Krishna. I shall. First, Sudhir Ji, the Sudhir, Salty Sudhir. Salty Ji, let's call him Salty Ji. I like it. Salty Ji essentially first points out how Hemant Soren's salary is 3.5 lakh rupees. But look, he travels in expensive cars. Look, he has property. How? It's not just like 30 crores. It's not just 300 crores. Thousands of crores maybe he has, secretly. Because how can someone afford this much with 3.5 lakh as salary? Yeah. So disproportionate assets apparently saying that way. But then, okay, if you want to count that as a legit argument, where did he get all of this money from, all the things? Fine, investigate. Do investigation. Okay, karo. But what comes after that is what is more shocking, where he's like, oh, so he's going to jail today? Yeah, Chitra, his colleague. Chitra, he's going to jail today? Salty Ji is saying he's going to jail. So it will be like he's going back 30, 40 years ago, like how he came from the jungle, he's going back to the forest. Why does he need to go there? why is that thought even coming to his head? Salty ji. Privileged uncle Salty ji. That's why. He thinks Adivasi should be always be beneath him. See, that's what I'm saying, sin theta. It does drip off that. I cannot say it other ways. But because I'm wondering, what is the situation where this thought comes to your head, right? Where you are actually focusing on the Adivasi identity, right? And he is basically like, oh, look, he's so successful. How is a tribal person so successful? It goes into that direction. And it's just not cool to do this.